Hi, my name's Phil. I'd like to talk about politics. And over the weekend, Elon Musk said he was going to create a new political party, the America Party, in order to exact revenge on the Republicans for passing the so-called One Big Beautiful Bill. Now, that's not the reason he gives. The reason he gives is to give Americans their freedom back, but that's why he wants to do it. However, the announcement caused Tesla shares to crash as investors are reportedly worried about the unpopularity that Musk is once again going to attract, which could hurt the Tesla brand. So will Musk persist with his revenge party, or will he be forced to focus on his commercial interests? But first, for daily news and politics, please click the subscribe button to stay notified. So when Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, I think it was talking about the prospect of Elon Musk challenging the Republicans in next year's midterms, with his new party, he responded that Musk should just focus on his businesses, that the principles of Doge were popular, but Musk was not. So Bessent here is trying to make out that Musk is personally ill-suited to politics and can only harm any project he's associated with by pursuing it. In reality, of course, what Bessent said about the principles of Doge being popular were only because, in principle, nobody would be hurt by them, but the government would save lots of taxpayer money because the savings were supposed to come from waste, right? Waste, not chopping loads of jobs. No matter who ran that project, the reality was always going to be unpopular. In fact, if Trump had given the job to someone who was actually crazy enough to chop $2 trillion off the budget, which is what it was supposed to do, America would probably be in full-blown civil war by now. That being said, Musk's political activities have most certainly hurt the Tesla business. Sales of the cars nosedived with all the grace of a sack of potatoes hitting the deck in various markets. There was a particular shock in several European countries, with very visible protests against the brand in the USA and Canada as well. Musk's political activities used to align very well with Tesla's target customers. In more recent years, they've become incredibly antagonistic. You could imagine that now that he's going to set himself up in direct opposition to MAGA Republicans, maybe he'll be free to adopt more Tesla-friendly positions again. However, in order for his revenge party to succeed, he specifically needs to attract voters who would otherwise vote Republican and try to avoid peeling too many voters from the Democrats. If he ends up pulling the same number of voters from Democrats and Republicans and gets like 10% of the vote or something, his party doesn't win and the Republicans end up with no overall loss, right? First past the post system. So strategically, I think he's probably going to need to be the purer version of MAGA without the tax breaks for billionaires, right? Tesla's shares were actually improving. They'd almost got back up to where they were at the start of the year. Not anymore. 7% drop sent them tumbling. There are likely to be a couple of main concerns for Tesla shareholders. The first is, as discussed, how Musk's continued politicking is likely to be received by Tesla customers. Very poorly, investors think. I suspect they may not be far wrong. The second is just Musk's focus. Whilst he was monkeying about with his Doge sabotage of the United States, including the axing of resources from the Weather Service, which has not only made hurricane warnings unreliable for Florida in hurricane season, but now also been blamed for a lack of early warnings for the deadly floods in another Republican state, Texas. But whilst Musk was busy dismantling vital public services, even he accepted that it came at a cost to his focus on his own businesses. He is the CEO of Tesla, but he wasn't doing that job. But Doge was always supposed to be a relatively limited time secondment for him, at least in terms of the day-to-day focus. But there are now questions about his involvement in this new party. I mean, he could, I suppose, just provide the backing and Twitter promotion and let someone else run the party day-to-day while Musk gets back to the office. But Musk is basically a showman, and an especially egotistical one at that. The reason Tesla shareholders still allow him to run the company is because I think they know he adds value to their shares. I don't think Tesla are worth their current value. Their cars are nothing special these days and are basically death traps. Not only have they been responsible for lots of crashes where the driver could do nothing, but once it's embedded itself into a tree, I mean, emergency services can at least then try to open it up and get the passengers out. Can't really do that too easily with a Tesla because the door handles retract. And the massive telemetry data that Tesla boasts of collecting is always mysteriously unavailable for crashes where a Tesla failure is suspected of being at fault. Oh, sorry, with no data. I thought you collect loads of data. There's no relevant data. All right, yeah. Even if Musk was the nicest, most inclusive person on the planet, I don't know why anyone would want to get into a Tesla, much less buy one to use every day. Tesla maintain a relatively high share value specifically because Musk is a genius at persuading people that they need to have those shares, that he's going to achieve great things. And if you don't have your shares before it all kicks off, you're going to miss out big time. He's not an engineer, doesn't know the first thing about design. He's a marketing genius, though. That being said, he has struggled to convert that marketing genius into political charisma. It's not just the drop in Tesla sales this year. That can be explained, as I say, in the way his politics is antagonistic with typical Tesla customers. But his general manner inspired lots of people in Minnesota to come out and vote against the candidate he was backing a few months ago. Mind you, that doesn't make the America Party doomed. In fact, the same sort of reaction could actually help his revenge. If we assume, as I think we have to, that Elon Musk doesn't think he's going to win seats with his America Party, certainly not straight away, but the aim is to stop the Republicans winning, then it could work. If his involvement inspires more progressive voters to turn out and vote Democrat, well, that's good for his aim as well. And as long as he can inspire some Republicans to vote for him as a way of voting Conservative without helping Trump, then the project can still succeed. Assuming, that is, Musk can wear the losses to Tesla shares. He doesn't own the company, doesn't have a majority stake, but a lot of his personal wealth is derived from Tesla's value. How low would the shares have to go before both the board and Musk agree that the company should probably have a more normal CEO running the show? Or will he just abandon his political ambitions, deciding that his revenge isn't worth the cost? That is certainly what Trump's team is hoping, that Musk's new political project cannot be aligned with his business needs, whether from the competition for time or making himself and the brands attached to him even more unpopular. Trump has said he believes that Musk is acting the way he is because he couldn't get the carve-outs for EVs that he wanted. He may be right, that may be the reason. Whatever Musk's objections to Trump's bill, I don't believe is in the best interest of the American economy. I don't think that's his reasoning. I mean, I can think of a couple of potential reasons why Musk may be opposed to this bill out of self-interest, and Trump's hypothesis is entirely plausible. At which point, if Musk is driven by the needs of his businesses, then sacrificing more value for the sake of a revenge plan, which is not guaranteed to work, and even if it does work, doesn't necessarily achieve much other than sticking two fingers up at Trump for crossing him, then maybe he will decide to quit while he's behind, but just not too far behind. After all, if Musk ends up much poorer and his America Party is a flop on every level, that's not going to do his ego much good. Or is the ego the key here? Will Musk believe absolutely that he can not only manage his business interests, but teach Trump the lesson that it would have been just easier to give him what he asked for from the bill? What do you think? Let me know what you think in the comments below, and for more content you could subscribe to the channel or even join for access to streams and behind the scenes updates. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'll see you later.